Hi, my name is Braam, and today I'm going to share with you a testimony out of my own personal life. I am married to Sonya, a magnificent wife. We've been married for just over 20 years, and we met each other as young adults in church, hit it off. After 2 years, we got married, and we obviously had this vision for our lives, this dream of having a family, which was fairly abruptly paused when we were told by gynecologists that we won't be able to have children. And obviously we took that to God, and a miracle happened. His name is Ivan, and we love him to pieces to this day. And 2 years after Ivan was born, we completed the picture that we had of our future when our second son Michael was born. And as you do as a dad, you have all these kind of rituals and ideas of how life would work in your home, and you very diligently build this thing called your household, and you try to focus and help and support and give them all they need. And we set in place several rituals as a family that we really enjoyed. And one of them was that we would, in the early mornings, I'd wake up at 5 o'clock, spend some time with God. And as you can glean, I'm a very religious person. And I would get the kids at 6 and take them to Sonya and my room, put them in the bed, and then we would sit in the bed and just spend some time together. And it was the Friday before we would go on a family holiday with our extended family on a game farm, and it was time for the ritual. And I went and I took Ivan and I took him to Sonya, put him in bed with Sonya, and from there I went down the hallway to go and get Micah. He almost 2 years old at that stage, and when I got to Micah's bed and I stretched out to pick him up, I felt his body was cold. And I realized my son has died. And suddenly, all of what I've constructed over many, many years in my life has been ripped apart. And I was in a deep, deep, immediate crisis. Such a challenge standing there next to his bed and realizing that it's not just me that suffered this loss. I'll be the one that'll break the news to my wife and Micah's eldest brother. I don't know how to do that. I mean, there's nothing that teaches you how do you handle your son's death. How do you take that bad news to the people you love the most? I think my instincts just kicked in, and I took his body and I walked down the hallway, and I said to Sonya, our son is dead. Our son is dead. The next few hours was absolute chaos. Absolute chaos. There's no way that you could explain to people what you go through when you discover your child's dead body. I knew one thing. I needed love. I needed people to carry me, because I had no clue where to go to. I didn't want to be alone at that stage. I felt completely out of my depth in terms of handling this issue, and I had this immense sense of responsibility. And that sense of responsibility, in a sense, was opposed by a very acute sense of my lack of capacity to navigate this kind of a crisis with my family. God has been so faithful. The restoration of us as a couple and as a family and as individuals after that is a series of miracles. And it's impossible to share that with you within this video presentation of a few minutes. I'd like to just refer you to 3 critical questions that this type of crisis asks of you. A crisis like this asks you, what are you going to hold on to? What's going to give you strength? And I can say today that Jesus Christ has carried me through. I was sitting in my chair on a regular basis in the living room and just speaking to God, because the scripture in James actually says, let him who suffers pray. And I had someone to hold on to. People many times make fun of me and say, Jesus and your religion is just a crutch. It's such an understatement. He's actually my foundation. Can't do anything without him. Secondly, it's going to ask you this crisis, who's going to be with you and who's going to stand with you? Who's your true friends? And I want to challenge you, make sure you've got good friends, because our friends and our family carried us through. And then thirdly, it's a common saying amongst people of faith. Are you going to let this make you bitter or better? Your response does stay a choice. And there's times where other people help you stay with your choice. There's times when you're strong enough to execute your own decision. Here's what you need to take away today from my testimony. I follow a man who's been through death himself. His name is Jesus Christ. And if you've been confronted with death of a family member, why don't you follow the one who knows what death is all about and has conquered it? You see, the spirit that raised him from the dead is the same spirit that comforts me when my days of difficulty arrive regarding my son's death. Won't you today make the decision to hold on to the one that has conquered all? Let him be your anchor. Be a Christ follower, and he will get you through it. God bless you.